Hello, beautiful souls. I am Valeria Maritza here at Healing Through You. I am an infinite being of light, and so are you. My guest today is Barbara Banner. She is a certified medium helping families heal. And I felt such a strong connection when I met her, and I just felt that her story and what she does to help everyone who is attracted and called to work with her is something that is so needed. Especially now we are coming on about the holiday time, and a lot of people are missing their loved ones who they have lost. And so I am very excited to bring her over to you and introduce her to see what it might bring to you. As always, take anything and everything that you hear on this podcast that resonates with you and anything that doesn't, just leave it. And with that, let's welcome her in. Welcome, Barbara. I'm so excited to have you here.
Me too. I'm looking forward to
Oh,
this.
okay. It just froze for a second. I was like, oh my gosh, not already. Mercury retrograde.
Okay, so we'll
Okay.
start over.
No, 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 it's good. It's good.
Totally.
People
Everything,
know.
everything.
Yeah. Okay. So, Barbara, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself for the audience who may not know who you are?
Okay, well, now I am a psychic evidential trance medium. And I've just been doing it for 5 years. It went really quickly. Uh, I didn't know had the juju until like middle school. And I felt something, psychic or whatever, but I didn't know what to call it. So I just told my friends, I think I'm a witch. Okay. I didn't know what else to call it, but I've always been interested in paranormal and mediumship and watched the shows even as a teenager. Um,
Yeah, me too. But that's
oh,
interesting that you went with the word witch because there's so many people in this business who have discovered their gifts, and the witch word is kind of like taboo, right? So it's interesting
I
that
didn't
has
know what
you.
else to call it. At like 13, I didn't really know about mediums or anything. So
Right.
that was the closest thing to somebody with some little powers.
Cool, cool. When
So
did you,
it,
yeah, go ahead.
so I didn't get involved in anything. It just sort of smacked me in the face later on in life, like 30 years, 40 years later. So it was a surprise to me as well.
Did anything happen to bring this about
Oh yeah.
to
Oh yeah. Oh
tell
yeah.
us a little bit about that?
Uh, Things were flying off the shelf, a clock off the wall, pictures falling down in our den and in the living room on the mantle, and that one was his mother. So my mother-in-law, she jumped off the ledge, and later on when I could talk to her, I said, "What did you do that for?" She goes, "I needed more attention." So we understood. So with things flying around, and I was also doing commercials and I had to do auditions. I went to look at it before I sent it in, and there was orbs flying all around, just going crazy. Now, I didn't see them when I was saying, "Hi, I'm Barbara
Hmm.
Banner." So the last thing that I said, I just can't ignore this. The den ceiling lamp
Hmm.
um, has a fan and a lamp, and it was flashing. And in the bedroom, the same exact thing was happening, except in the bedroom, the light was flashing and the fan was going, but there was no light bulb. So I said, okay, spirit is calling me and I better answer. So I took a
Amazing.
class. I looked up, and my first class was Suzanne Giesman.
Oh,
It
yes, I
was,
love her. She's
I love
amazing.
her. I
Yes,
love her. What
she's
a
the
good choice
evidential
I
medium.
made. Definitely. So
Wow.
that's up until, oh, I didn't know this, but my history is I was an advertising and marketing writer
Hmm.
and maven for like 35 years. Um, but I always liked to do uh, volunteer work. Okay, I was always very drawn to that. So the first thing I did was I trained to be on a women's crisis hotline, and I was
Hmm.
there for 14 years volunteering, on my days. And then I went to a hospital, and I'm in the ER still, just volunteering in the emergency room. Now I figured, okay, I have an adrenaline addiction, okay, because I like a lot of action. And then the craziest thing came into my lap. Um, the crisis response team for the city of Los Angeles. We would go out to a scene where the
Mhm.
police were there or the fire department, and there was a body on the scene, and the family was there, or a witness who needed support. I mean, on this worst day of their life,
Yeah.
because the police, they need to measure and talk to people. So that was crazy. I mean, people said, why are you doing that? And I just said, because I can. And you understand that, you know?
Yes.
So that's
Wow.
how it all started. And I was told I was divinely guided to these three different volunteer jobs
Hmm.
because I use them in my job every day as a medium. So
Wow.
interesting start.
Yes. I wanted to know if something happened to you. Like, did you have something like a big life change or anything when before this, all of these things started falling off the walls and stuff?
Uh, I had the life change after it, because my husband said, "Don't tell anyone you're a medium." Okay, I didn't even tell him for like several months. I figured, oh boy, how am I
I
going to
think a
do
lot
this?
of us can relate to that.
So I told him, well, this was the name of the class, soul to soul communication. That's pretty broad. So I said it's a communication class, as I'm so he bought that for a while. And then I said, look, after a while, and I'm bringing in spirits and everything, I said, this is what I'm doing. If you don't want to be involved because it's too woo woo for you, that's fine. But if you do, I'm happy to share it. And there's going to be a lot of really good stuff to talk about. He goes, I'm in. So, but he said, still
Awesome.
told me not to walk in a room and say, I'm a medium. Not that I did, but he still wanted it on the down low until he realized, hey, she's pretty good at this.
I love that. I love that. Amazing. Okay, so you once you decided to take classes with Suzanne, which I love.
Uh-huh.
I love her story. Anyone who has not heard her story, go listen to her story as well because, there's no one more like uh, farther away from woo-woo
Right.
who fell into woo-woo.
Right. It just, when it's meant for you, they say that when your soul is ready to do this,
Hmm.
that's when it'll come. It can't, it's not always when you're in the crib and you see an
Yes.
orb. It's when you're
Yes.
ready. So I was prepared with all my volunteer stuff to take it on. Bring it on, guys. Bring it on.
Amazing. So now, I read that you're helping families heal, and I was feeling like, wow, this is such a needed thing to have or to have access to or to be aware that this is out there, especially
Yes.
now during all the holidays, people who have lost, loved
Yes.
ones and are looking for some type of reassurance. Tell us a little bit about that. How do you help people?
Uh, well, it's called Helping Parents Heal, and it's international. And um, one after I had been doing mediumship, and one of the women who was part of it, I gave her a reading, and she said, "Can you come and give it to my whole group?"
Hmm.
And I said, "Sure." And something happened in that I was so touched. It really changed me and made me want to really help more and get involved. Um, I can tell you what happened.
Yes,
Um,
please.
in my readings, I have a question and answer period because people have questions.
Hmm.
Um, and the first one I said, I'm hijacking that one because I don't want to know what the question is. Okay. So I said, give me a question. Think of a question about your son, who it was like a 6-year-old son who passed. And don't tell me, just say I've asked him. Okay. So, and then I'll tell you what I see. It's not for like a parlor trick. It's like in mediumships, when our head gets involved, that's
Hmm.
when it goes bad. You know what I mean? That's when we
Yes,
doubt what we're doing. So
absolutely.
I said, all right, I see a little boy, your son, riding on the back of a giant butterfly in heaven. Okay. He's zooming and dive bombing. He is joyous on the back of this butterfly. And I said, does that make any sense to what your question was? She says, you have no idea. So I said, okay, what was the question? She said, what is my son doing in heaven? But here's what's so interesting. Uh, she sent me a picture. She said, I bought a book after he passed to read to my daughter, his younger sister, to sort of discuss in children's terms how to process a sibling who dies. And she said, and in the book, there was a page, full page, of a little boy writing on the back of a butterfly, just like you described.
Wow.
So you can't imagine how this touched her and how much comfort it gave her to know, number one, that I had her son with us, that they can communicate, and that he's having a great time and is perfectly well. So that kind of healing or, uplifting, I just said, I have to do that. So I got certified by them. They have a program, and it
Mm-hmm.
was pretty grueling, but I did it. um, and I'm on their website, and in fact, I'm giving a reading for the whole group sometime in January, a gallery
Amazing.
reading. So
Amazing.
that really pushed me to know that I want to help people with children, because if you have a child, you know that there could be nothing worse in the world than losing a child.
For sure.
So that touched me.
Amazing. So now, do you have a group uh, where you help people like this, or is it more one-on-one? How does
It's
that work?
one-on-one. I
Hmm.
like doing one-on-one,
Yes.
because you can really spend time, an hour getting how their loved one really felt, not just he liked to wear Bermuda shorts and chew gum, but really how they felt about things that you wouldn't know, because most people don't really share their feelings,
Hmm.
and most parents are pretty um, blown away when they say, I didn't know that he felt like that. um, So, and I had a woman whose daughter passed at 16, but she had been um, couldn't speak from birth. She had some issues, and she never could talk to her mother, and her mother never knew how she was feeling, or if they did enough, or if she was happy, even though she couldn't do this or that or speak. And after our session, she just couldn't believe it. She goes, this is the first time I ever found out how she felt about us and what we were doing and how much she loved us. We never had a communication with her. So she was unconsolable in happiness crying. I mean,
How does it get any better than that? It's
yeah.
amazing.
So that's
Amazing. What what are kind of the things that you're led to do now when you're helping people to to bring yourself more out there so that people can like really see who you are and like how do people find you?
Well, they find me on webcast, web
Uh-huh.
podcasts. I've been
Yes.
doing so many
Uh-huh.
lately, and so that I get a lot of feedback from that. But it's bannermedium.com. I mean, if you look me up on Google, it'll be right up there. So I'm building some awareness out there in the market, and I do little clips of funny things that happen in my readings, and those are on my website at the end. Um, and TikTok and all of that stuff. I put uplifting things for, like, 30-second videos of
Uh-huh.
some crazy things that happen on in a reading that you just can't make that stuff up. It's just crazy. So it's easy to find
Amazing.
out.
Yeah, amazing. I've always been drawn to mediums since I was young. Well, not
Me
since I was,
too.
right?
I didn't know it, but I was.
Yeah, and it's just always fascinating how it works. And how some people are so against it or don't believe in it or they're afraid. They're afraid. Like in my
They're
own
afraid,
family.
and that, that's, we expect that, especially if they're religious.
Yes, that is the
So
biggest one.
those are hard to overcome, but once they realize that's my husband that you're talking about that is here, that just told me I only have four toes or whatever, something, amazing. And it can melt away that fear or those teachings that they got, that this is the devil's work, because it's not. We're all part of the same group. We're all connected, and we wouldn't have these abilities at as strong as they are, so that we can do that, unless it was for good. People, I'm sure there's some charlatans out there who are saying, give me 10,000 and I'll tell you what your husband said. Well, but those are few and far between. So
Yes, yes. No, I've seen that as well. I had an experience in Italy many years back when my mom came to me and I heard her speaking to me just like you're speaking to me. Never again like that. But I had this message for my siblings and one of them was like, I don't want to hear it. I
yeah,
was like, yeah. And I didn't know I was so green back then about this. I was like, hey, Bam said this. I'm telling you anyway.
right. It's
Being quite insensitive to their needs. But yeah, the some of them are still feeling like I don't want to hear anything about it. I don't care who it is because
it's
and
fine. We're not here to teach them. We're not there to make them believe. They'll believe it soon enough. When they get over there, they'll say, darn it, I could have had 20 more years of learning about this and connecting with you if I wouldn't have been so stubborn.
how did the taking the course help you figure out what was going on with you and how you were doing it? Because I mean, obviously, you already had the gift, and you just went there to find out, well, how do I actually make it
Well,
work, right?
I didn't know I had the gift until I
Okay,
went and took took her class.
you were just led to take that class then.
I was just led to take that class because there was so much paranormal activity going on in the house. I know they were pushing me. I
Mm,
didn't find it. My mother was 104. And this was during the pandemic that I started taking the classes.
uh-huh.
And I went to her and I said, Mom, I have to tell you something. I'm a medium now, and I can talk to Dad. And I said, I didn't know how to tell you. I thought I might push her right over the edge. She wanted to go over the edge at
Uh,
104, but I was still, she goes, oh, don't be ridiculous. Your grandmother used to drag me to fortune tellers and tea leaf readers and tarot and mediums. She said, that's, I grew up like that. She says, your grandmother had some juju too. She used to have people come to her and want to tell her what's going on. So
mhm.
I said, Mom, you're 104. When were you going to tell me?
Yeah.
What was she waiting for? I guess in that time it was sort of on the down low. People weren't saying, come to me, I will tell you your future. So, but it was interesting to learn from other people who channel that I've been doing it for like 1,000 years. That's why it came to me so quickly when I
Uh-huh.
started. It's like I'm made up for lost time.
Yeah, amazing. So did all of the paranormal stuff like stop afterwards? Like were you able to talk to them and say, "Hey, stop it," or something like that?
Well, it stopped. There was some. We got little signs, but they were calmed down.
Uh-huh.
My daughter was getting signs from her grandmother, and she said, "Mom, someone's turning off my TV when I'm watching it, and nobody's around or whatever." And I found out it was her grandmother, and I asked her. I said, "Why do you keep turning off the TV?" She said, because I don't like what she's watching. So I called my daughter. I said, what are you watching? She goes, like South Park and all those nasty cartoons that are. I said, Grandma doesn't like that. Okay. So that's why she's going to keep turning it off. Go watch an opera or something. Um, so we get the messages.
That's really funny. I didn't realize that spirit will intervene when things like that. I always had this thought like, they'll come, obviously, especially in the healing, with a specific message or something so that they, number one, know it's them. Number two, like no one else knows about it. And then the healing happens. But like things like this, it's kind of like, I don't know, funny, intruding maybe.
It's funny. Well, we just turn into energy, a ball of energy on the other
Hmm.
side. So
Yeah.
they can do anything with energy. That's their ballywick. That is what they're good at because they're energy. So you always hear someone that's dimming the lights or
Hmm.
flashing them or turning on putting the radio on to a song that they loved. So they're always trying to give us a wink and doing things, and they come through when they can and when they need to, and they do funny things. They are as funny as they were when they were
Here.
human.
Hmm.
We
Do
had a
you
body.
do you feel some people might want to know like if the loved one is doing that, are they like what are they doing over there? Like I know that little boy was flying on the butterfly, having the time of his life, but like what are they doing? Like why are they watching and interfering what we're watching
Well,
on
they
TV?
don't, first of all, they don't interfere unless you give them permission. Like if you have a really messy desk and your mother was a clean freak,
Uh-huh.
you're not going to wake up one morning and everything's going to be neat and tidy.
Oh
They,
man.
I know. Come and vacuum for me. So you have to ask them for their help in some
Hmm.
way, or be open to it, kind
Hmm.
of. So I always tell people, tell your husband on the other side or your child, come. I want to keep, they want to be part of our lives, even though their bodies aren't here. Okay. Cause they're around us all the time. They're just around us. They can split their energy to 20 different places.
Hmm.
So they're around us. They're protecting us. They're watching us. They're loving us. They're I show them pushing a rock away that's going to make us trip, on our path in this world. They're always helping with a lot of other relatives and angels. They're just doing what they can to help us in this life. They put things in our head. So I always tell people, if you have a question, just say, Mom, blah, 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 blah. And the first thing that comes into your head is most likely from your mother. The idea.
Hmm.
Um, I have some pictures I could show you that were really interesting. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
All right. Well, I have to turn off the blur so you can see them nicely.
Okay.
Okay. None. And then I'll put it back on.
I cannot turn off my blurb.
No, it's not your blur. It's mine.
Okay.
So I actually have a picture. Where's my picture of the here? Here's the picture she sent me with a little boy on the back of a
Wow.
butterfly in heaven. Okay, it existed. So when I say that, uh, the first thing in your mind is something that's good. So I was doing a podcast and I was telling the host,
Hmm.
this is what I do. I do a little exercise with the client at the end. So
Uh-huh.
I tell them, okay, I'm going to count to three, and you're going to tell me the very first thing that is in your mind. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, so I did that to her. I
Uh-huh.
I didn't think she was playing along, but 2 days later, she goes, "You don't know this, but when you said what's in your mind, I had something in my mind. It was an elephant." And she said, and I thought, where am I going to see an elephant? Now, wherever you see this thing or item is not going to be where you think it is. Okay, if you see an elephant, you can't just say, I went to the zoo and I saw an elephant.
Uh-huh.
It's
Uh-huh.
going to be unexpected. So she emails me. She says, I took my son to a new mini golf course, and look what one of the holes was, a giant elephant that you had to put the ball through his legs. You can't make this stuff up.
Hmm. Wow.
Something even freakier was I was with a woman who lost her husband. I said, 1, 2, 3, what is it? She goes, a wrench. He used to love to fix cars.
Uh-huh.
So a couple days later, she wanted to send me a picture of her husband, so I could just see him because we talked about him a lot. No, I cut his head off for this so you couldn't see. She said,
Hmm.
zoom in on the Google G that there was like a band of Google.
Uh-huh.
Look what Spirit put in the G.
Wow.
A wrench. Have you ever seen anything in a Google logo that they've put something in? Never. Can't believe that. I have an Italian client who I see all the time. She she said hearts, heart, heart. So she sends me. She was having pasta. She stuck her fork in, and look what came out. A heart
Wow.
shaped. You'd have to get scissors and glue to make that. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? It's impossible. And she gets a lot of hearts in her cereal spoon, a little heart. So Spirit is amazing.
So that's the person that she wanted to communicate with.
Yes,
Uh,
her fiance, her boyfriend,
I
and
see hearts all the time, everywhere in nature, everywhere I'm moving. Yes.
hearts are all over the place. It's
Yes.
true, but they work very hard to make it in a place that you wouldn't expect it. Otherwise,
Hmm.
it's not as fun,
Right, right.
Like you could go out and look in the sky, and some guy said dogs, we love dogs. And he sent me like 10 pictures of cloud dogs that his mother was doing.
Wow.
So it's pretty amazing what they can do, and all these little things that they show you. The reason I do that exercise is because I want to show people that they can connect on their own,
Hmm.
that they can do this little exercise every week. They can tell their teenage daughter, dad's showing us this. He showed us this and this and this. Now, why don't you come up with something? One, two, three. So the kids can get involved. The grandparents, everybody can get involved and find their item that their loved one is sending them. And it really can make you change how you look at the other side and your loved one being around you, because obviously he's right there and he's
Hmm.
putting it in your head,
Hmm.
and he knows where it's going to be and when it's going to be that you're going to see it. So they want to prove to you that they're around, and that's why they do these little tricks and give me the evidence that they do in a reading, so that the person can feel in their heart that they're not alone. And Edgar Casey always said, we're not gone. We just
Hmm.
went a little ahead of you. And if you look at something in a different way,
Hmm.
it can help. I can't
Definitely.
bring them back, but I can bring them closer.
Hmm.
And when somebody books, I send them some things to read beforehand, and then there's a resource sheet of some ways that they can get closer on their own. Can't afford a medium all the time. You got to learn how to do it a little yourself, and these are sort of shortcuts and some guided meditations on reaching them on your own. So I'm a big proponent of everybody trying to be open to it. If you're closed, it's not going to work,
Hmm.
um, because that's such a low vibration. Is the higher the vibration, the more open spirit is to being with us. So I like
I
to,
love that. I mean, that's exactly what I like to do too. It's like it's not just like come to the person to be read or helped. Yes,
right.
that's good, but also getting the tools so that you can do it as well. And I love that. I love that you do that as well.
Meditation is key. I mean, if you just say I can't do it, I can't clear my mind, I say that's BS. Um, do it when you're ready, when you're in bed and the day is done and you're already half asleep. Put on
Hmm.
the earphones, listen to my thing, and see what happens. Just see what happens. And you got to practice and you got to be persevere. Um, but they want you to know they're around. I get physical signs. When I'm doing a reading, if it's a good yes, I'll get goosebumps,
Hmm.
all over. So I call them my exclamation points. to whatever evidence comes out. And that's very helpful for a medium to have that.
Yeah.
By the
Amazing.
way, did something pop in your head?
Uh, I don't know.
All right, 1, 2, 3. What's the first item that pops into your head? Just
Apple.
say it.
An apple.
Okay, there's gonna be an apple where you do not know, or
Not the
am not
grocery store.
not at the grocery store. No, you could have a license plate in front of you that says Apple. You know, you could have a big van coming. Delicious apples. At your local grocer. It's not where you can just see it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you could be taking a hike, up a mountain, and there all of a sudden there's an apple there that looks delicious to eat. It's not where you're going to figure it out, okay? It's
Yeah, yeah. I hear
Spirit
that.
didn't go through this to for you to say, okay, it's just an apple right
And it
here.
was such a random thing too.
Yeah, they're all random. An elephant is random. A wrench, everything is
For
random
sure.
until it comes. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. When we start thinking like, oh, what thing? Then we get our heads in it. That's the
I
thing.
always say if you wait 3 seconds, your critical mind will get in and to say whatever you thought you wanted to say is not good
Uh-huh.
enough, and you're going to change it. So it has to be the first thing that
Yes,
pops in because they're putting it there.
absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's so fun. Would you say that somebody who's experiencing things like you did before you took the course and everything, like things moving or shadows out of the corner of the eye, that not only is that spirit is trying to get in touch with them or maybe give them a message, but do you feel that it's also that it's maybe a gift that they have that they can do it as well? Or do you think it could be either or?
Well, I think mostly if they haven't had any kind of signs, or I think it's just spirit. Like I always say that back, if there's like a little shadow behind you and you think and then you say, nah, it's just my imagination. Well,
Mhm.
first of all, your imagination is how all of us communicate with our imagination. So
Uh-huh.
that doesn't let it out. If you don't believe that it's possible, and that's probably your dad, because yesterday you looked at a picture of him and told him how much you loved him. If you don't believe, you're not going to. It's not going to come through. It's not going to come through for you. You're just going to poo-poo it. I had a woman, and I had told her. I said, "Your son is showing me. Well, this is a different kid, but your teenage son is showing me butterflies for you. Anything going on with butterflies?" And her husband pipes in that there's been butterflies flying around her the last 3 days. And I said to the woman, I said, and one of them was circling her. I said, couldn't, you already knew I said butterfly. Why didn't you think of it possibly as, your son giving you a sign? This shows you how we can talk ourselves out of anything. She said, oh, I just figured it was butterfly migration season, you know, like mating season for the butterflies. That's why they were all there. So if you don't believe it, look how you can talk yourself out of
Yes.
a beautiful sign.
That's so that's so true. Because we're conditioned to try to find the logic about things
Right.
instead of
And things are not
yeah,
always logical, you know?
definitely not in this.
Right. So we just have to be open. We have to
Yeah.
be open to this crazy world we're in, and know that there's more, and that our consciousness goes on. Okay, when we unzip our human suit, the body's gone, but everything that is in the mind, the consciousness goes right back home. That's home on the other side, and off to visit relatives and study and help others, and you know just live the life. There's nothing solid there, but you manifest everything. I mean, if you wanted to ride a Ferrari really fast, just say, okay, got a red Ferrari and I'm going to go around the rings of Saturn. You know, you can do anything you want in your mind, and it becomes 3D for you. It's not like you have a little picture of it. It is big. Want to
Have
live
you
in a castle?
manifested?
Do it, you know.
Do you have anything that you have manifested that way?
Money.
That's amazing. Everybody
Yeah.
wants more money.
You know, when like tax bills and you know, going on a big vacation and say, I could use a little more, give me some more. And it like comes in several days, and it's so crazy. It's crazy. What else do I manifest? My life is pretty good, so it's not like I'm in need of anything, but
Mhm.
I do manifest things like, you know, a boyfriend for my daughter kind of things, but that has not worked out yet. So little things like that, but it's
Amazing.
all there for us to do it, but it is overwhelming to think of all the things that we have to go through to get to this point. It's a lot of work. But it's joyous work if you love what you're doing.
Absolutely. Have you had any animals come through for your any of your clients?
Yes, I don't. They don't talk to me. Okay, I'm not Dr. Doolittle, but I do say, okay, I'm seeing a lab or a golden, light colored, jumping on somebody. He goes, well, we had a lab and we had a golden, and they're both on the other side. So yeah, they'll come through. Um, you know, I'm sure if I worked at it or took an animal communication class, I can't even figure out what my dog's doing. You know, why are you peeing in that corner? Okay, just can you talk to me? No, they don't. They don't.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, wow. That's I just love your story of where did you go from here? What?
I have found my purpose in life.
Mm,
I am not going to go be a Reiki master or do you know, remote viewing, even though I've done it. This is my path. And every time during the years and years of training that I talk to somebody who channels for me, they all say, stay on this path. I am happy to do one thing well. Okay. I added
hmm
trance in, and that even enhances a mediumship reading, because your mind is, you know, like I'm over here having a cup of coffee and my mouth is just talking. Um, so I'm sticking right here, and I can do this till I'm 100.
I love that. I also love how you are able to see that everything that you did before was leading you to this. It was
Yes.
preparing you, giving you the steps, I guess, you know?
Somebody just, I told them what I did, and she said, you were divinely guided to each of those things.
Hmm.
And I said, that makes so much sense, because it was so crazy. You know, all my back training in grief and everything. There's a lot of training in it, trust me, before they could bring me out. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. I didn't
And I
know what
love,
I just feel like a robot. Okay, women's hotline. Okay, you know, ER. People come in, hands hanging off. That's fine. I can handle it. So I just went along with whatever they led me to.
yeah, that's so important because a lot of times we're like looking for like, what am I supposed to do?
Yes, so many people when they come to a reading, they say, "I want to know what my purpose in life is," and I say, you know, spirit doesn't always tell us what we want. It tells
Hmm.
us what we need to know now. We all know what our purpose in life is. It's in our higher self. They know what all the lives we've been. Everything is here. It's like the Akashic records, right in our soul. Um, and we sort of have to figure it out. It's not like one of those things, you know, can you tell me where that necklace is that I lost, even though I
Hmm.
couldn't even find my own jewelry. um, so I just say, what is it that you love to do? What have you always dreamed of? that you would be so excited to get out of bed every morning and get dressed and go and do it. Uh, what what stirs you? And that's most likely your purpose in life, to find what gives you joy and love. People are afraid that, my husband's only been gone 2 years and there's a cute man that's been, and I said, first of all, they have no jealousy. We are all here for the same reason, to experience things and to learn lessons. Okay, that's it. And you picked this life and he picked his, and we don't know why we made such crazy choices until we get over there. Okay, until we go home. So all they want you to do is feel love and joy and have a wonderful life until it's over. And then if we're meant to be together, we will be together.
I love that. You said you're a trance medium. How does that work?
Well, trance is, when you're falling asleep and you're in that nether world kind of thing, that's how we sort of get into trance. We just like just sink in and just let spirit take over. Just go with the flow, and all of our guides and everything else get involved, and all the souls are in our around us. They're all there to come forward, and just getting into that zone where your conscious mind is not in that zone. It's like pushed aside. And then it takes over. Whoever the spirit communicator is just says things. And some people could go really deep, if they want. They could sound like Winston Churchill or something, and
I was going to ask you, do you sound like the person, or does it still sound like
no,
you?
because it could be their mother, it could be their higher self. It could, you can tell that I'm sort of in a altered state. But I do talk slower, and it has a different cadence, and I do talk softer. So that's how I come out. And not everybody, opens their mouth and sounds like a werewolf or something. There are some people who have very interesting voices, and the information you get is so accurate because our mind can't screw it up.
You're not getting in the
our
way.
mind isn't in it. And they'll say things sometimes. I have very funny guides though. They'll say things like at the end, or things that are completely off the wall, that have nothing to do with all of the nice things that they were telling them before. And I think it's just sort of to test me. At the end of some reading to some parents, it was all about, follow this road and this, that, da, da, da. And I'm still doing origami. I said, okay, that really woke me up. I said, I don't know what I said before, but I definitely woke up to the origami. Does that mean anything? And they look at each other. She said, when my daughter in her last days at the hospital, she put together a box and did origami for us to keep, like little doves and all that stuff. And I didn't even know that she knew how to do that or did that. So that was a shock. So they'll throw little things in.
Yeah, it's like a good confirmation, so that
Definitely.
no one else knew that except.
Right. Origami. Come on.
Does it feel for you when you come out of that, when you finish communicating, do you feel more tired or drained, or do you feel more energetic?
Yes. I go in and out really quickly. I do everything quickly. And the team knows that I like doing things quickly. Some people take 5 minutes to get in. I'm like 5 seconds. I can only do it at the end of a reading. And it's always the favorite part of the reading for everybody. It's a little higher price, but it's definitely worth it. And I come out of it and I'm a little, don't remember hardly anything. And then I'm tired. Okay. Because it's all energy and it's just concentrated energy. And
Because it's a
depending on
higher
how long,
frequency.
yeah, very high. So it's just really makes me tired.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't, it's hard to do two in a row that wanted the trance part of it too. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it. And as I move up and have more experience in trance, I'm sure because my mentor, Nico, the trance medium, he doesn't get tired. He could do it for like hours.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Right
Yeah.
now, it does make me tired.
It does. It is different for everybody. I've heard
Yeah.
like from different mediums and different
Yeah,
people.
definitely.
Yeah. It just depends on who you are and what's happening. But amazing. Well, Barbara, this is amazing. Is there anything that I didn't ask you or that you would like to share with the audience?
Um, I have a very funny story. I have two funny stories.
Okay.
One is I did a reading for someone whose husband had taken his life. And in the reading, she had her daughter there who was 13, who didn't really know how he passed. And she was such a skeptic. Everything I said, well, that's really broad. Oh, you could guess that one, or you might have seen it in the paper. Those are the worst readings. Okay. Those
Mm-hmm.
just, they get into your head and
Yeah.
and she was testing me for everything. She'd say, what were we wearing 3 days before he died? No, seriously, that's a question. Okay. The three of us, where were we and what were we wearing? I am not a monkey. You don't just give me a nickel and I'm going to do a trick for you. That is not what we do. And it's very unpleasant and it ruins the reading because
Mm-hmm.
our head gets out of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I gave her money back because I didn't want to go on any further. Um, so a few days later, her husband wakes me up at like 3 a.m. He spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and he shows me a half a toasted bagel that was scooped out. People scoop
Uh-huh.
it out to
Yeah.
save 3 calories.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so I emailed her and I called her and said, "This is your husband came to me because I knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
I had him, described him." And I said, does a scooped out bagel mean anything to you? She goes, "That's ridiculous." She was nasty. Um, no, it means nothing to me. All Jewish women scoop out a bagel. I said, "Okay, just telling you what he brought me. Okay. Bye-bye." 4 days later, she emails me and tells me she took her daughter to her husband's parents to visit them. And the father-in-law said, "I invented a product and I have a prototype and let's see if you can guess what it is." So he brings out some contraption and he says, "Did you know what this is?" She said, "I have no idea what that is." He said, "It's a bagel scooper." You couldn't even make that up. I mean, he woke me up, showed me a bagel, scooped out bagel, and because he knows his father invented a bagel scooper and she was going to be there. She said we all fell on the floor. We couldn't believe that you had that information. The woman looked at it, didn't even know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the more amazing things that I got. And she still didn't apologize for being so difficult. And
Why
then
did she even book then?
because
It's not like you
because
went over there and say, "Hey, come over here."
a friend of hers said, "I have a really good medium. You should go." So she just thought she would. And then another one. I have a woman who's always comes at, on her husband's angel day, and she always tries to test me. But I love her, and I always say, "Stop testing me. I've showed you enough on testings." So she says, "I have not felt my husband. You tell me that he's around me. You always say he's around me, but I have not felt him at all. And she was very distraught. And um, and she said, if he really it, she said, he might be with another woman. You have to find out. Not going to be. Um, she said, if he's really around me, he's going to know what show I binge watched during the pandemic. And I thought to myself, oh, there's nothing like a little pressure. There's only 5,000 million TV shows, on. And her husband, who was there, said, it was Outlander. So I said, Outlander. She said, that's it. She said, you don't understand how you just lifted me up, because I was so depressed and feeling nothing, like he wasn't around me. And when I know you hate when somebody like tries to test you, but I really needed that. I really needed it. And that's what I learned, because Suzanne Giesman says, she doesn't like to be tested. Nobody does.
Yeah.
That when clients say, can he tell me such and such? She goes, I will always ask. They will tell you what you need to know now, not always what you want to know. So if he tells me, fine. If he doesn't, I move on. She really needed that. That's what I learned.
Amazing. I love that. I love the confirmations and how the peace that it brings one when they receive this
Oh,
a message from the loved one. Um,
it gives them hope.
yes.
It makes them open the possibility that they are right here, and they
Mm-hmm.
do know how I feel, and they are going to help me, and maybe pushes them to open up there, because we're all born with the same ability. It's how much we put into it,
Yeah.
and want it. And I would say that I must be at least 90-95% of all the people that like joined Suzanne's class or any class is because they lost somebody and they want to
Yes.
connect.
Including
That's
her.
it. That's it. They want to do it too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I love it. Wow. I love those two stories that you share with us. And I also love the skeptics when they actually get the confirmation. It's like, oh, right? Like,
Right. Yeah. And now she's all into it. She does gematria, which is this, ancient number thing. And she said, I put a name in and it gave me his social security number. I mean, she's getting amazing things now, thanks to me, showing her that it can be true. So
oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you
thank you
for
so much
sharing.
for having me. All right.
Yeah, this is so much fun. I always love having these conversations, especially with mediums, uh, because
We
it's
have good stories.
it's deep to my heart, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
we're so lucky we do something like this, all of us.
I will put all of your information on the notes so that people can reach out and get in touch with you if they feel called. So, with that, I will let you go.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Same here.
All
Thank you so
right.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you feel called to work with her, then just look down in the notes and see it. Leave me a comment if you liked it. Press like if you like the content that I'm giving you. I ask you to please subscribe so that more people can see and find this podcast. And with that, I'll let you go and I will talk to you next time. Bye bye.